Good evening, everybody. We welcome you live inside the Thomas and Mack Center in fabulous Las Vegas. The Lobos have made the semifinal round of the 2018 Mountain West Conference Basketball Tournament. Great to be with you. It is March, and New Mexico stands just 2 victories away from a berth in the NCAAs. Who'd have thought that after the first month of the season? Alongside Hunter Green, my broadcast partner, I'm Robert Portnoy. Hunter, it has turned into a special year for Lobo basketball. They now carry a 6-game winning streak into the Mountain West Tournament semifinals, and they take on a Utah State team that did what many thought they couldn't do yesterday, and that's knock off the 2-seed Boise State. Utah State is the 7th seed, takes on 3rd-seeded New Mexico in the semifinals for a chance to face off with San Diego State in tomorrow afternoon's championship game. The Aztecs have blistered Nevada here today. They had a 30-point edge at halftime. They currently lead by 24 with just over 2 minutes left. Nobody saw this route coming, and they've kind of thrown down the gauntlet. They've said to everybody, we'll take on all comers tomorrow in the title game after beating the regular season champion Nevada so soundly. It's an impressive performance. And the Lobos are facing a team that they split with during the regular season, Utah State. What are your thoughts about this matchup and the way that the draw has sort of laid out for New Mexico here?
Well, I thought we played them tough the last time we played them in Logan, Utah, but that was without Antonio Jackson. And I think he's a big part of this team, and so having him tonight, I think that's going to be huge.
The Lobos only had 6 guys when they went to Utah State and played the Aggies very tough before falling. Utah State, they gave the Lobos trouble in Albuquerque before New Mexico put them away. It's an interesting matchup, isn't it? Because Utah State is a team that runs a ton of sets. They've got all kinds of different ways they get their team open 3-point shots. They're not really going to attack New Mexico's press. They're willing to play at a slower pace in terms of a half-court game. New Mexico wants to make it frantic, frenetic, out of control even. They love to try to speed you up. And they were actually able to play at a little bit slower pace yesterday and still handle Wyoming pretty well. Kind of a contrast in styles here tonight, right?
Yeah, well, Utah State wants to slow it down. They want to get you in a half court. They want to play zone. And they shoot the 3-ball. I mean, they shot 25 threes last night. Between Merrill and McEwen, I mean, those guys will let it fly. So that's their style. New Mexico want to force tempo, want to get up and down, run the floor, and, of course, then shoot the 3 in transition. So very different styles, but they both like the 3-ball.
Well, what a team for New Mexico to have in the semifinal round. You think about the way that the draw has set up for New Mexico. A team, Wyoming, that they swept during the regular season. They got them in the first round after knocking off Fresno State to secure the 3 seed. That was enormous. Look what happened to Fresno State in that 4-5 game against San Diego State. Right. They were gone after day 1 of the event. Then Boise State, a team that swept UNM during the regular season, beat them badly in Boise before breaking their hearts with a comeback win in Albuquerque. In the second matchup, Chandler Hutchison and Sengfelder and Haney and that entire team, they were on a plane back to Boise today.
That's right.
Utah State took care of them. And, Hutchison he's a first-round NBA guy.
Yes.
He can peel the ball at the defensive glass and take it coast to coast and dunk on you.
Yep.
And the Lobos saw that in Dreamstyle Arena, the pit. So, in terms of athleticism, this matchup here today, it's a 50-50 between New Mexico and Utah State. And the Lobos come in a 3-point favorite, of all things, in the semifinals of the Mountain West Tournament.
New Mexico's a favorite to win this thing. I tell you, that's what's interesting. I think anybody could beat anybody in this conference. There's a lot of parity, but the way that New Mexico plays, the style is unlike anyone else. And when other teams try to play the style that New Mexico plays, they just can't. They think they can maybe for about 15 minutes, but not for 40. And that's really been the difference, and that's why New Mexico's been successful.
Utah State comes in at 17-16 overall. That includes their 2 tournament victories. They knocked off Colorado State as the 7th seed in the opening round and then upset 2-seed Boise State yesterday. They finished 8-10 in league play during the regular season. The Lobos are now 18-14. New Mexico has won 6 consecutive games, including their quarterfinal victory yesterday over Wyoming. They finished the regular season in 3rd place in the Mountain West at 12-6. The only team hotter than New Mexico is this San Diego State team that has blistered Nevada today. Maybe the one thing that this does for the Mountain West as a conference is guarantee the league 2 bids, because everybody says Nevada has a good shot at an at-large, and it won't be Nevada winning the tournament.
No, I mean, they do have a good shot at an at-large. I'm not sure if that's a guarantee. I mean, that's just an outside chance. So here, you can control your destiny, and right now, San Diego State's taking it from them.
Well, maybe guarantee the wrong word. It's given the conference the best chance to get 2 bids.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, time for us to take our first time out on the Bank of the West pregame show. Bank of the West donates $10 to Special Olympics of New Mexico for every 3-pointer Lobo basketball makes this season. Bank of the West, a proud partner of the Lobos. When we come back on the other side of the timeout, our pregame coach's comments with Lobo head man Paul Weir. We're live at the Thomas and Mack Center in fabulous Las Vegas for the 2018 Mountain West Basketball Championships. You're listening to Lobo Basketball from Learfield. We are back on the Bank of the West pregame show, live from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. UNLV's home court, the host site for the 2018 Mountain West Basketball Championships. San Diego State will take down Nevada. Final score is going to be 90-73. Well, Nevada just stole the ball. They're going to get one final dunk. No, that won't even count. It's 90-73 is the final score. San Diego State beats Nevada by 17, and it wasn't even close to being that tight a ball game. The Aztecs had a 30-point halftime edge and buried Nevada under the hardwood here today in fabulous Las Vegas. New Mexico and Utah State coming up shortly. It is a semifinal matchup between the 3-seed Lobos and the 7-seed Utah State Aggies for right to play San Diego State in the tournament final tomorrow afternoon here in Las Vegas. Everguard Solar and Everguard Roofing donate $10 for every Lobo slam dunk to All Face. Everguard Solar can help you turn a sunny day into a money day. Everguard Roofing can fix a hole in your roof or give you a whole new roof. All right, time for our pregame coach's comments. Here's Lobo head coach Paul Weir.
Paul, the Lobos have made the semifinals of the Mountain West Tournament. Utah State is the draw. Before we talk about Utah State, though, congratulations on a nice win in the opener of the tournament. You get a quarterfinal victory to advance. Wyoming, we knew what to think going in, but what were your thoughts post-game about how your team handled the pressure of the first round of the tournament?
I think really down the stretch here, end of February into early March, we've played kind of some of these bigger games, and really we've tried to take that out of it and just kind of play the next game. So we've had some pretty good practice to play Fresno, to kind of fight for a position. We've had a lot of big games here late, and I think in all of those we've really just kind of taken our foot off a little bit and said, hey, you know what? It's just the next game. Let's execute. Let's do what we do. Let the game kind of take care of itself, and we did that again against Wyoming. And fortunately, we were on the right side of that.
You mentioned pregame that you'd seen the women's team maybe had a little bit of nerves in its first game in the tournament. You guys came out of the gate like gangbusters.
For sure, and I think that was part of it. We talked about not really letting the moment be a moment. Let's just play like it's the next game. It doesn't matter whether it's in the Thomas and Mack, the Pit, or any other arena that we've played on this year. It's just the next game. Let's go out, let's have fun, and let's kind of do what we do. So fortunately, it got us off to a good start, and hopefully it does tonight as well.
Lobo head coach Paul Weir is alongside. You mentioned that Wyoming's not a great rebounding team, but anytime your team out-rebounds the opponent like you did and wins the battle on the offensive glass, that's huge, right?
For us, for sure. We're not necessarily a team that's been dominant on the glass at either end of the floor this year. We're just really trying to fight to hold our own a little bit. So to go out and kind of get that's really just an added bonus and helps us in a lot of other areas. So very fortunate, worked out that way last night, and hopefully we can do the same thing tonight. I think we've actually rebounded the ball pretty good on Utah State in both games, and we spent a lot of time here on it, today, practicing and going over film and things to where we can contain the glass again.
You did say post-game yesterday that because of a couple of offensive rebounds that you didn't like and a couple of turnovers that you thought were sloppy, you would run them a little bit today. Did you actually do that?
We did. We run for offensive rebounds allowed. We've done it all year long. Not all year long. We've done it probably for the last month or two. We've yet to play a game back-to-back, but we've always ran the next day for the rebounds. And we did run today for the rebounds from last night.
Keep the pedal down the whole way, huh?
Yeah, I don't think changing now would be a good thing for anybody. We got here by doing it our way and having a method, and I think just sticking with it just kind of gives everybody a little bit of comfort.
Speaking of change, you said you didn't even bring a suit. You told me that yesterday. The red sweater was out. You're 4-0 with a red sweater. Red sweater tonight?
It is a red sweater night, yes. I not because of the record, to be totally honest with you. I know everyone's worried about the record of tie and no tie and all that stuff, but to me, I'm just kind of focused on the next game, and right now that'll include a sweater.
We got to find things to amuse ourselves, Coach.
I understand.
Lobo head coach Paul Wears alongside. Some other good things that came out of yesterday. Joe Fursinger might have played his best game of his career in the biggest moment of his career when he wasn't sure if he'd have another game to play in his career as a Lobo. He was unbelievable yesterday.
Yeah, I thought him and Herndon were terrific. Herndon, obviously, for Wyoming, was awesome from the center position, and I thought him and Joe were just battling all night. It was Herndon make a play, Joe would make a play. The two went back and forth, and quite honestly, probably the two best players on the floor. So it was fun to kind of watch that matchup, particularly when you come out on the right end of it. But really happy for Joe that obviously he played a really good game against a terrific player.
Something that you said very early on about the way that you play and that you hoped your style would give you an advantage once you got to March, and how other teams playing guys max minutes might start breaking down a little bit. And you never wish injury on anybody, but certainly when you're fatigued, those kinds of things seem to crop up more. We saw what happened to Fresno State at the end of the year with Jaron Hopkins. Justin James, didn't really look himself yesterday, or at least as energetic as he had been in the first two meetings. Some of these things are starting to come to fruition.
They are. You don't always know that they are. All your plans are really theoretical. How it plays out in practice sometimes, you can't always entirely predict, but the probabilities were these things could happen and they would come our way. And if we kind of really worked on our depth and really worked on making it about a team, that we could maybe get to this point and have a better team and better depth than some of the teams we were going to play. Fortunately, it's kind of been that case. It helped us in the Fresno game for sure. Helped us down the stretch of the UNLV game. Helped us down the stretch, I think, yesterday. So we just got to keep chipping away and doing what we're doing. I don't think there's ever a guarantee. I think you just kind of set up your plan how you want it and hope it's giving you the best chance to succeed.
Paul Wears with this Lobo head coach. So Utah State has guys in a Merrill, in a McEwen, who have played those max minutes. Now, for 2 nights in a row, this will be their third game. You feel like with you guys going 9 deep, you only had 2 players even reach 30 minutes yesterday. One at 31, I believe, Logwood, Simons at 30. You guys should be better rested.
That's the hope. It'll be their third game in 3 days, our second game in 2 days. We've gone back to back all year long with practices after games. We're physically prepared for this moment. Mentally, I think we've come a long way in the last 6 weeks. So I believe we're mentally ready for this moment as well. Now we just have to go out and play our best game.
We didn't get a chance to talk to you post-game with all of your media obligations following the games here at the Mountain West Tournament. It's very difficult, but you did seem ecstatic, almost giddy, to get the win in the first round of the tournament. As pleased about a victory as you maybe have been as the Lobo head coach. What was the feeling like for you? And was my observation correct?
Yeah, I think our defense was good, which was comforting, particularly in the middle, the end part of the second half. We were just getting stops, and even down the stretch, it would get to 7 or 8 or 9, and they'd come down, and we were able to consistently kind of get stops when it really mattered, and that's something we really haven't done consistently, particularly the back half of the year. So I was happy about that. We talked about that after the game. We watched film on it again this morning, just kind of hopefully reinforcing all those same things where we can continue to defend at a good enough level to win, because we're going to need to be very good against Utah State. It's a terrific guard combination, very good three-point shooting team. They space the floor. They're very similar to us offensively that way, and we have our work cut out for us. So we have to have a very good defensive game plan in order to give ourselves a good chance to win.
You guys did play terrific defense against a very potent Wyoming team yesterday. Utah State has McEwen and Merrill, each one has had a big game against you.
Sure.
A different kind of pick your poison choice with those guys?
To an extent. I mean, they're both bigger guards that play very well together. Both can shoot the ball incredibly well, but are also well-rounded enough to kind of make plays off the bounce, create for others, be good passers, distributors, and ball handlers. So they're a very good dual threat. In Game 1 at their place, obviously Kobe was terrific. In Game 2 at our place, Merrill was incredible. So they've both been, I think, the same thing in this tournament. I thought Kobe was terrific in Game 1, and Merrill was terrific in Game 2. So, they've played off each other all year long. It's probably the best offensive backcourt in our league, and we have to make sure we do a really good job of containing them and just following our game plan. Very similar to what we did against Wyoming. I thought we did a very good job of executing our game plan against James, and now we have to go out and do it against both these guards.
Well, Coach Paul Weir's with us. What about the role players? Taylor's had a big game against you. Brown's had a big game against you. Maybe Henson not so much, but we've seen him have big games this season. He can shoot the three. How do you handle those guys?
Yeah, I mean, they have good depth, and they play a lot of those guys. They're very good from the three-point line. Henson obviously can shoot the ball very well. Perry's kind of come in now and become a really good shooter for them. Brigo, I can go down the line. They got a lot of good players that they spread the floor with these guards and are able to kind of kick out to make some shots. So very good team. Obviously playing with a lot of confidence to knock off Boise in a tournament. You got to be playing really well. Beat Vegas there in the last game of the year. So they're playing well. They got a good team. They got good confidence about them, and we have to do everything we can to kind of get them out of their rhythm offensively to hopefully get the game how we want it.
You told us before the tournament started that McQuatch Malawach had been dealing with a bruised hand. Obviously, this is a grind, which you get through February into early March. How's the health of your team? Knock on wood, we hope okay. How did you feel McQuatch looked? And is there any other ding or dent that you're dealing with right now?
Yeah, nothing significant really at all. Even McQuatch's hasn't been. I think, unfortunately, it became a little bit of a mental thing more than physical. Probably that first time when you're not 100% as a freshman and you're trying to figure out what that means. As you get older, you realize you're never 100%. So, that's something I think he's just kind of growing through a little bit. I don't think it's as much a physical thing as a mental thing. But I thought he was a little bit better yesterday than he had been before, and hopefully he'll be better tonight. I spoke with him after the game last night, and hopefully he'll be able to finish this season strong.
You guys only made 7 threes, still played into the 80s and won yesterday. Was it just the nature of the way that Wyoming defended you that the three wasn't there as often? How did that play out last night?
I think so, for sure. I think Wyoming did a really good job of getting us off the line. I thought it opened up some stuff. I thought Troy had some really great drives to the rim. I thought Joe scored around the rim. Sam scored around the rim. We were able to get some stuff in transition. So them getting us off the line, we were able to kind of capitalize on some other things. We picked up a lot of fouls on those kind of shot fakes and penetrations. So, you never know how teams are going to play you. We say that all the time. You got to read the defense, don't predict it. So we just kind of read the defense, take what they give us. Fortunately, last night we were able to get some really good looks, and we'll kind of see how Utah State does it.
Be remiss. I'm glad you mentioned Troy Simons. It seems like Sam Logwood has kind of been the guy in the headlines because of the in and out of the lineup, but they were both out for an extended period together. And Troy kind of came back a little more quietly. He's just been huge and played another great game for you against Wyoming.
Yeah, he was really solid. I thought his drives in particular were really big. We were getting the ball moved around, and we felt like we could exploit some matchups and go at them in certain ways. And Troy was thankfully a guy that could really just get to the rim, and then kind of finish at the rim. And like I said, he's been shooting the ball really well here of late, and that's helped us tremendously. I think he's always been a great defensive player. He's a terrific offensive rebounder. He's done that all year long. But his three-point shooting's been really come and go. It's been very inconsistent. I thought he started off the year great, then went into a little bit of a lull. But now we got him kind of going again, and I think it just gives us another weapon, and it's been huge.
Boil it down. What scares you most about Utah State? Is it their three-point shooting, if they should get hot from the arc?
Very much so. They're 9 threes and above. I'd like to say they're 13 and 6 or so, 8 and below, 6 and 10, something like that. Going through the numbers, they take a lot. They took 42 or 43 in their game against San Jose. So they'll shoot a bunch of them, especially I think as the season's worn on and these games and they get tired, they shoot more of them. I think Kobe in particular shot a lot more. And when guys are tired and they're shooting them, you're kind of okay with that. But at the end of the day, when they're good shooters, that means they can still make them. So we got to make sure we do a good job of getting them off the three-point line.
Now, you're a numbers guy. We love the numbers too. It would be 7 in a row. It would also be 13 to 17, and it would mean a berth in the Mountain West Tournament final. Best of luck against Utah State.
Thanks so much.
Lobo head coach Paul Weir, your pregame coach's comments. New Mexico and Utah State Mountain West Tournament semifinals live from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. The first game did run a little long, so we're a little farther away from tip than we normally would be at this point in the Bank of the West pregame show, but that's okay. That means more of my broadcast partner, Hunter Green, and we'll welcome him back in when we come back after this timeout. New Mexico and Utah State in the Mountain West Tournament semifinals, live from fabulous Las Vegas. Lobo basketball from their field. Welcome back inside the Thomas and Mack Center. It is the Lobo basketball pregame show presented by Bank of the West. New Mexico and Utah State are out on court for the first time pregame after San Diego State dismantled Nevada, the other tournament semifinal, in the early evening here in Sin City. Happy to have you aboard on the 19-station Lobo Radio Network. Alongside my broadcast partner, Hunter Green, I'm Robert Portnoy. UNM Athletics and Valley Fence, proud partners. They're trying to end hunger throughout the state of New Mexico. For every block during Lobo men's basketball, every sack during Lobo football, every strikeout by Lobo pitcher during baseball, Valley Fence donates to the Roadrunner Food Bank. So now New Mexico has whatever first game jitters in the tournament that they might have had behind them, Hunter. And in fact, the way they started against Utah State, they probably didn't have much, if any. They looked terrific, I should say, yesterday, not against Utah State, but against Wyoming. They looked terrific. So with that piece of the puzzle taken care of, and now New Mexico playing its second game in as many nights, what do you expect from them the way they come out tonight against the Utah State team that really will try to control the tempo of the game and keep it at their pace if they can?
You know, listen, I think it's just another game. The mindset that Coach Weir has instilled in his team is that, look, this is just another game, and they prepared that way, and that's why they didn't have first game jitters in my mind. This team, Utah State, this is their third game in 3 days. So I think there is going to be some fatigue. I think there's going to be legs might be a little, maybe in the first half they'll be okay. It's the second half where they'll really feel the effects, especially the jump shooters, because you use so much legs in shooting those threes. So and then New Mexico being in their second game, I think they're going to be fresher. And I think they're well conditioned. So I think in the second half, we'll see the difference, especially for Utah State.
Dane Kuiper yesterday. We looked at those plus-minus numbers, Hunter, and he was the best. In fact, he was the only double-digit plus-minus player on court last night for New Mexico against Wyoming. While he has not scored the ball great of late, he has been a huge impact for his Lobos. Talked with Coach Weir about him and the entire staff, actually. And while Kuiper's shot has been absent quite a bit this season, he has continued to play huge minutes and has continued to be a big part of the rotation and has often been in the starting lineup because of the deflection stat and what he does with his on-ball defense. That's the thing that Coach Weir told me about that is most significant, because Kuiper, while Troy Simons gets a lot of the headlines defensively, Antono Jackson, because he was the steals leader and made the all-defense team, maybe spearheads that piece of it for New Mexico. Kuiper is the best on-ball defender, even better than Troy Simons. Remember, Coach Weir told us yesterday that Troy's got unbelievable anticipation, and then Jerome Robinson in our postgame acknowledged the same. But he said Troy's got work to do guarding his man when his man has the ball.
On the ball defense,
But that's what Dane does best.
Yeah. Dane does a lot of things. I mean, not just the defense. He does a lot of things, and they don't show up in the stat sheet. You know, he reminds me of a kid that I thought was a great Lobo, Ramon Martinez, who just did a lot of little things. I mean, he might give you 21 night, but then he might give you 5 points and 10 rebounds, or 3 steals and 2 deflections. I mean, he was that guy who did whatever the Lobos needed to be successful, and that's kind of what Dane does. And it's hard for me sitting here to really see who is their best on-the-ball defender, because they all work so hard. I mean, they all are giving their best. Even when Mathis, who seems to be sometimes a little at a disadvantage, physically and guarding on the ball. He's given his best. And so when I'm sitting here and I'm looking at these guys, Jackson, McNeil, sometimes I think McNeil is unbelievable on the ball defense. So I think they all play it well. But when I look at Dane Kuiper, not only does he play defense very tough and on the ball, he does all those little things that don't show up in the stat sheets.
Let's talk a little bit more about the two regular season matchups between Utah State and New Mexico. We've had two huge performances from Utah State Aggie players in those games. Kobe McEwen took one of them over and looked to be a first-team all-conference performer in one of them. Yeah. And then the Lobos kind of took him away, took him out of his game, and suddenly Sam Merrill just went off. And we know what a knockdown shooter he is. One of the few that you would put in the category of an Anthony Mathis in this conference in terms of his consistency with his jump shot. You probably can't shut them both down completely. But if you're New Mexico defensively, what's the best approach? Do you just do what you do and, consider that you're going to get help on everybody the way that nobody jumps more than the Lobos? I mean, in talking about getting help side defense, that's what the Lobos live on, right? I mean, they make their living defensively on that. And they've had their defensive struggles at times. How would you approach the two-headed monster for Utah State?
Well, definitely you want to, get into them. You want to make a jump shooter uncomfortable. So you want to get into them, and that's what they're going to do. But part of it is denying a shooter the ball. He can't score if he doesn't get the ball. So I think look for the Lobos to use a lot of ball denial and then also ball pressure so that the passers who's looking for those two individuals don't get good looks. So deny those jump shooters the ball and then get into them, make them uncomfortable. And the Lobos are good at that.
One final thought before we take this break. When a coach says, and the Lobos have said this a lot about this team, because we heard from Coach Weir, when Utah State makes 9 or more threes in a game, they win. And they did that very well during the regular season. When a coach says, we need to take them off the three-point line, get them off the three-point line, what do they mean and how do you do it?
Well, you want to deny, first of all, you want to deny them the ball, but then you want them to put it on the floor, meaning they have to become a ball handler or a ball dribbler versus just a catch-and-shoot jump shooter. And that's really what he is talking about.
Time for us to take a timeout. When we come back on the other side of the break on the Bank of the West pregame show, it will be time for Hunter's Keys to the Game. We'll hear from the Lobo legend on what's most important for New Mexico to get a victory over Utah State. They've already done something in this tournament that they hadn't done in 4 years. That's win a game. It had been since the 2014 tournament when the Lobos won it. That's how long it had been since New Mexico got a victory on this court, the Mountain West court, inside the Thomas and Mack Center. Can they make the semifinals a W as well? And then a berth in the championship game tomorrow against San Diego State? We're going to find out before the evening's over. Back in the Bank of the West pregame show after this, it's Lobo basketball from their field. Welcome back to the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and Utah State, the 3 seed and the 7 seed, matching up in a Mountain West Tournament semifinal game for the right to play in tomorrow afternoon's championship contest here in fabulous Las Vegas against San Diego State. The Aztecs runaway winners earlier tonight over the 1 seed and regular season champion Nevada Wolfpack. The Lobos have taken the court here at the Thomas and Mack, and you can hear the band in the background. New Mexico warming up at the basket to our right. The Lobos finished up the regular season with 5 consecutive wins at 12-6 in conference play, and they yesterday defeated 6 seed Wyoming to garner this opportunity to take on Utah State for a berth in the tournament final tomorrow. The Lobos and NDWI partner together to provide a unique service to Lobo fans for the Mountain West Tournament. Text Lobo to 90561. Keep track of your Lobo men's basketball tournament scores through text messages right to your phone. NDWI wants to make sure no matter what the score, you cheer your Lobos safely. And if you're drinking, make sure you have a designated driver. Again, text Lobos to 90561 for all your Lobo men's basketball Mountain West Tournament game alerts. I'm Robert Portnoy. Welcome back, my broadcast partner, Hunter Green. And Hunter, time for your keys to the game. New Mexico split with Utah State during the regular season to beat the Aggies here tonight in front of a great contingent of Cherry and Silver faithful. How must the Lobos do it?
Well, offensively, they've got to knock down threes. They didn't really shoot enough. Well, they shot 17, made 7 of them last night. But they like to shoot 25, 30 a game, and they need to shoot more and make more offensively. They want to push tempo. That's what they like to do. Get up and down the floor. Don't want to be in that half-court game. Get the ball out and early. And then, of course, offensively, they want to penetrate the zone. Look for Utah State to try to play a zone against the Lobos. Lobos want to penetrate that and pitch to their jump shooters. Defensively, you got to find this guy named Sam Merrill. Loves to shoot the three. Push him off the line, get into him, make it physical for him, make him work. As well as Kobe McEwen. Now, Kobe can take it off the dribble, but he can shoot the three as well. He can create his own jump shot. You want to make it uncomfortable for him to do that. Rebound the long threes, because I anticipate there being a lot of long threes that are missed, so New Mexico needs to rebound. So the guards really need to be active in rebounding the basketball. And, of course, I think staying out of foul trouble for New Mexico, because I think when New Mexico gets in foul trouble, it becomes an issue because you have to rely on the freshmen, Pinchuk, and guys who aren't really as experienced to contribute, and those are the keys.
All right, time for us to take our final timeout. When we come back on the other side, we got the starting lineups up and the tip, the Mountain West Tournament semifinal day on the men's side, the Lobos and the Utah State Aggies. Right after this, Lobo basketball from Learfield. Antono Jackson throws the basketball to the heavens, and the Lobos will play San Diego State for the championship and a berth in the NCAA tomorrow afternoon.
You gotta believe.
83-68 is the final. New Mexico wins by 15. And remember the slogan for Coach Weir when he first arrived. Right. Believe or leave.
Yeah,
the guys who stayed, they believed.
Yes, they
and
did.
Now they're one win away from the big dance. Incredible.
Yes, it is. It's you know what? It's just so good to see these young men who have fought and worked so hard this season to get to this point, going to the championship game of the Mountain West Tournament.
Take you back to 2014, and really the most recent peak of the madness here in March in Pitt West. And a swarm of Lobo fans just devoured the court here as New Mexico hoisted a three-peat championship trophy, Hunter.
Yes.
With Coach Neal at the helm then. It had been 4 years since the Lobos even won a game in this tournament. And now Coach Weir, in his first season leading the program, takes them back to the championship final. Just an incredible feat after a season that started at 3-8. We're joined by Lobo assistant coach Jerome Robinson. Inside the Thomas and Mack Center, Coach Weir doing his obligations with television and a huge smile on his face. J-Rob, thanks for being with us and congratulations. You guys are playing for the championship tomorrow. Way to go.
Thank you for having me, man. We're excited. It was a hard-fought game. You know, we knew they weren't going to go away. And right now we're just pumped, man, but it's going to die down in like 30 seconds because we got to get right back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I'm not sure Coach Weir is going to celebrate too much when there's still work to be done, but you can kind of take it in right now for a few seconds, like you said, and enjoy the moment.
Yeah, certainly. Just like yesterday, we enjoyed it for a few minutes in the locker room, and then right on the bus, we're back to watching film. We're about to watch film as we speak. Literally, I'm not even joking. We're about to watch some film.
We've witnessed it. We understand. No, it's and it seems to be working.
Yeah, you know, I don't think you can over-prepare the guys, and you know, Coach Weir, he wants them to know everything about their opponent. You know, so we have to watch film. We have to go over the X's and O's, and we got to drill it in our guys so they know it come game time.
So many things stood out for us here courtside, I don't want to predispose you in any way. What were the things that were most impactful in this one, in particular, J-Rob, when New Mexico was down 5 and then went on the 19-0 first half run that turned that deficit into a 14-point lead? You guys took control of the game there and really never let go.
Right. We knew they were going to make a run. He just kept on saying, look, don't get too up, don't get too down. You know, if we're up by 20 or if we're down by 10, it has to be the same even keel situation. And that's what he said in one of the timeouts. It's like, just keep on playing.
He anticipated those runs.
He anticipated those runs, and we knew it was going to happen. It's basketball, you know, but we just wanted to keep on pressuring the ball, and eventually, hopefully, they would break and start coughing up a few of those balls.
Yeah, and you guys kept your composure. You stayed poised through that.
We did, and, you know, that's what he kept preaching to these guys, is just staying composed. Next play. He's always preaching the next play, the next play, the next play. Don't even worry about the officials. Don't worry about your three you made. Don't worry about your turnover you made. The next play. Just forget about what happened in the past.
Coach, talk about how Utah State went into a zone and how you guys were able to handle that.
Well, you know, we have a few zone sets that we run continuously against any zone that a team throws at us. And we just basically just want to get the ball moving.
Yes.
Want to get the ball moving.
Side
That's the biggest. Side to side, inside out, screens, whatever the case may be. But we want the ball to move. When we get in trouble is when we have stagnant, you know, the ball's in one person's hand or it's staying on one side of the floor is when we're in trouble. But when we get it inside out, high post, pack out, opposite side, that's when we're good.
Troy did some ball penetration in the latter part of that first half. Was very effective, getting inside the painted area, either to the rim or kickouts to his teammates.
Yeah, we talked about Troy yesterday. Yes. He doesn't get too high, he doesn't get too low, man. He just sometimes you wonder if he knows the importance of the game because he's so cool and level-headed, and you love that about him. And he came up with some big plays today, both offensively and defensively, back-to-back days.
McWatch Malawatch has seemed to relocate his confidence a little bit, and we saw him take the ball to the bucket very strong a couple of times today.
Yeah, I think his hand is starting to feel a little better. You know, he bruised his hand a little bit, but I think he's getting a lot of treatment, and as days go by, his hand's starting feeling better, so he's starting feeling more confident. You know what I mean?
He dunked that ball so hard, I thought maybe he re-injured that hand.
He did dunk it hard. It was impressive. He's a good player, man. I'm glad that we got him. He's going to be good for the Lobos in years to come.
Thought about this because you guys started so strong in the second half. What were the focuses in the second half meeting? What did Coach Weir point out to try to keep the pedal to the floor?
That's basically what he said. Just keep the pedal on the floor. Just keep pressing them. They're going to break. They're going to break. They're going to break. And I think we went up 20 or you know, the run where
23
we went up
was at its
23,
biggest.
and it's like he just said, keep on pressing. Hopefully they break, and that's what they did.
Yeah, I mean, both teams you could see kind of having a little fatigue, especially shooting from the three.
For sure,
the percentages show it. But your ball pressure, I thought was really the difference. I mean, Utah State really couldn't handle that.
Yeah. That was the game plan going in. You know, they didn't have a particular like PG per se. You know, McEwen's really good, but he's more of a two guard. You know what I mean, bringing up the ball, and that's pretty much about it. You know, they have Ainge on the bench, and you know he doesn't
freshman.
play. Freshman. He wasn't ready for these moments. So, this was a great game for us to run our defense.
Joe Furstinger again, unbelievable. I just looked at the plus-minus numbers, and Joe is by far and away the winner today at plus 27 when he was on the court. Plus 27. Wow, that's pretty good.
That is pretty good. He only played, 26 minutes? Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. He doesn't want it to end. He doesn't want it to end. Sam doesn't want it to end. Antonio doesn't want it to end, man, because
if you would have told us before the game that Mathis would go scoreless, be 0 for 4 from the three, right? And then Jackson, he didn't score much.
Yeah.
8 points.
8 points. Between those two, 8 points between Mathis and Jackson, and we'd be successful. New Mexico would be successful and win this game. I wouldn't believe you because I truly believe that New Mexico would have had to won this game from the three-point line.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think that's just a testament to our team and you know, how deep we are and, you know, different guys show up. And it's been like this all year. Different guys been leading scorers all year.
Yes.
You know, we've
balanced.
had a well-balanced team, 5-6 guys in double figures all season. And you never know who's gonna be the guy. That's what I like about this team.
Would you agree, though, that 7 3-pointers made, and again, the same number today as yesterday, 7 3-pointers made against Wyoming and Utah State, that number's got to go up if you're going to take down San Diego State tomorrow?
Hopefully it goes up, or our defense, you know, gets better. Or, you know, we played pretty good defense today.
Yes.
In a lot of stretches. So, you know, if we're not hitting any threes, we definitely have to lock up and
Utah
guard
State
somebody.
doesn't have the size as San Diego State.
They don't. Man, San Diego State's a really, really good basketball club. They, you know, they want
athletic,
long. The guards are big. They could shoot it. They could handle it. They could rebound. You know, they're a really good basketball club. You know, it's going to take a lot to take them down, but our guys are excited and we're looking forward to it.
What about the defense was good today in those stretches that you liked? What was good?
On-ball pressure. You know, on-ball, not gambling. Guys were in the right positions, whether it's, you know, in the gaps, we call it stunts, you know, or if they're weak side, you know, in the help defense. The guys were just doing a great job in those positions.
You guys did seem at the end, and we've seen it a little bit before, to struggle a bit when the teams that get behind press you.
Yeah.
Disappointing that the Lobos didn't handle the pressure a little better?
It is disappointing a little bit. You know, like you said, I think our guys were a little bit tired as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, you know, they haven't thrown it at us lately. You know what I mean? So when we do see it, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? A little bit of a shock. But, you know, we something we got to get better at. Hopefully we talk about it tomorrow morning or in shoot-around, just putting guys in the right spots.
So we did this yesterday, and let's do it again. Give us an early scouter on San Diego State. You said they're a really good basketball team, and they're the only team that's won more in a row than you. You guys have won 7 in a row now. They've won 8 straight. They were just as hot as you guys down the stretch.
Yeah, the 2 hottest teams going at it. They're a scary ball club. We're going to have to keep Pope and McDaniels off the glass. You know, they do a great job rebounding. McDaniels is like an Energizer bunny. He doesn't stop, especially he's relentless on the glass. Pope is skilled. You know, we're going to have to try to contain him as much as possible because he could play outside, he could play inside. You know, Watson's one of the best PGs in our league, if not the best PG in our league. And, you know, he could shoot it. He can take it off the bounce. And then you got Kel, Kel and Mitchell. You know, both guys that could really shoot it. They're physical. They're strong. They could post guards up. You know, they pose a big problem for us, man. Yeah. And then Rooks comes in, and he's just a monster down low. We're gonna have to scrap. We're gonna have to give it everything we got tomorrow.
Definitely want to keep him out of a half-court game.
Yes.
I mean, I'm looking at the stats of the game earlier against Nevada, and they shot 34 free throws.
Yeah.
A lot of that was inside that painted area.
Right. We're going to have to do a great job on those 2 guys. And even the dribble penetration, Kel and Mitchell, they draw a lot of fouls as well because they're so physical and they're so quick with the ball and they're so skilled. It's gonna take a lot. It's going to take a lot to beat these guys, but I think our guys are up for it. You know, I think our guys can do it.
How about the energy? This will be the 3rd game in 3 days.
Yes.
Are the guys ready? I mean, can they do it, or are they just going to play on pure emotions?
I mean, no, both teams are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about it. Boy, you know, it's not like they're coming in.
But this is what you guys are prepared. Coach Weir is prepared for this all year.
This is what we've prepared for. And it's funny because he spoke about this moment back in August.
Yes.
Like he spoke about this moment back in August and it's coming to fruition.
Yes.
It's crazy. You know, it's what do you guys call it? Weird. WEIR.
Yeah.
You know, it
is.
So hopefully his plan, you know, works out, but it's got us this far, though. Yes. You know what I mean? And
we continue to say that on the air here. You got to believe.
You got to believe.
And that goes back to that slogan that Coach Weir brought to the program: believe
or leave.
Yeah,
believe or leave. And you know, some guys left. You know, and all the guys bought in now, and they're excited. They're excited for this moment.
Listen, most guys would leave. I mean, if you're telling me I've got to work hard,
yeah.
I mean, who's going to sign up for that?
Yeah.
Right? But the guys that have,
it's paid off.
And my belief is that they're learning the recipe for success in life.
Yeah, definitely.
Beyond basketball.
It's bigger than basketball.
Yes.
It's bigger than basketball. And the guys that, they hadn't had success in the past are the ones that are coming up big for us now. And, it's beautiful to see that Paul was able to get these guys to a place where they're now successful.
Yes.
He has a way of just reaching people and pulling out the best in them and trusting the process. And he's one of those player coaches where they really like to play for him.
You said a key word there, trust. I think the players have to trust.
Yeah.
If you can gain the players' trust, they'll give you everything.
Exactly. They'll run through the wall, like they say, for you. And I think these guys have bought into him. They've seen the results. Early they couldn't see the results. Now they've seen the results and they're bought in.
Think about this. You finished the regular season with 5 in a row to get to 12 conference wins.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you could run the table here, 3 more victories, you would reach 20 victories for the year. 20-win season after being 3-8.
Yeah.
And a berth in the NCAAs and another trophy for the case in the Davalos Center. Believe or leave, and Hunter, you got to believe. But could you see this at 3-8? This is really amazing, isn't it?
I'd be lying if I said I saw this. None of us did. But what we did do is worked our tail off even harder than we were before. And, Paul got in the lab and we worked and worked and worked. And this is what happened. We didn't even watch the records. And Paul just kept on saying, just go out and bust your tail and just take it game by game, possession by possession, next play, the next play, the next play. And here we are. Before I was saying we can't think ahead. Now it's the end, man. Now it's the end, and we're looking forward to it, man. It's an exciting time. The guys are going to be pumped. I know both sides are going to be very pumped. It's going to be a tense game.
You guys have a chance to be one of the bubble busters. One of the teams that comes out of nowhere and wins a conference tournament and earns an NCAA berth and spoils somebody's party that they're waiting on the bubble. The Lobos have that opportunity. It's just incredible.
Yeah, there's going to probably be a lot of people in America praying that we lose tomorrow. Praying that we lose tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot back in New Mexico praying that you win.
Yes, definitely. They came out, man, the fans were awesome today. Awesome today.
And there's more on the way. We got more, we just sent some. They're coming. We just made a call, and some more coming.
You bought some plane tickets?
Hey, listen, we talked about it. We got guys, H&R Block pitched in, going to cash some tax returns and get over here.
Southwest is going to be full, okay?
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome.
And the roads are going to be packed, too.
Exactly.
They'll be driving over. They could do that.
It's going to be fun.
The Pit West has returned. I mean, you're getting your first little flavor of it. It hasn't been the Lobos hadn't won a game on this court in 4 years.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
But, I don't remember who told me that, but the players have no besides the ones who played in those games.
Larwood and Furstinger are the ones. Yeah.
Where P didn't say anything about that to him. He didn't let him know anything about that. He just said it's another game.
Yes.
It's just another game.
Yeah, he's not looking back. You reflect later in life.
Yeah. He said it's another game. Don't get too high. He kept on preaching, don't get mentally drained thinking about the game. It's just another game. Because when you carry that onto the court, when you wake up in the morning, you're mentally drained because you're thinking about the game. And it's hard to say and not do. But I think the guys kept a cool head and did what he said.
Another thing that you might or might not have heard about is that while the Lobos went 3 years without winning a game here, and I think it was losses during that stretch, losses to Fresno State and Wyoming and Air Force. During that stretch, and New Mexico didn't win a championship, obviously, those 3 years. And the champions, the league champions, Nevada, Fresno State, Wyoming, during that period. Now it's an old friend or an old rival or an old enemy. It used to be these two teams, San Diego State and New Mexico, butting heads. It seemed like for the better part of a decade at the top of this league.
I was on the East Coast watching it, so I know about the rival, but it's a different feel when you're actually, you're actually in it, and the guys are going to be excited and pumped for this game. And it's good to get the two rivals back on the floor again. I know it's going to be intense in here tomorrow.
Those three losses, Fresno State, Nevada, and Air Force in this tournament over the last 3 years. Great opportunity for you guys. That's what it is, too. I mean, the whole thing about what Coach Weir mentioned in his conversation with Snake about playing with house money. You guys have seemed to be able to just kind of cut it loose because nobody's expecting anything. And there's one more chance tomorrow.
Best place to play with house money.
And Vegas. That's Vegas.
Right. Best place.
J-Rob, you're awesome, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Congratulations. You know what? That hard work is paying off, baby.
Yes.
Jerome
Thank you, guys.
Robinson. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Lobo assistant coach. Time for us to pause. We come back with the Lobo basketball post-game show. New Mexico takes down Utah State. They'll play for the tournament trophy tomorrow. 83-68, the final over Utah State. Stay with us. Lobo basketball from Learfield.
Stay with me and with themselves, and they're kind of symptomatic of our team. And we never gave up. And Sam never quite gave up on me, and I never quite gave up on Sam, and Troy never quite gave up on me, and I never kind of gave up on Troy. And our team, at the end of the day, even though we were 3-8 or whatever it was, never quite gave up on itself. And that still counts for something. Chris Murray might not think there's a game tomorrow night, but we do. We're excited to be here. We're going to give it everything we got. We've battled back from a lot, and that's America. And if Chris Murray doesn't want to believe in that, that's fine. But we're really looking forward to just giving it everything we got tomorrow night. We've come a long way, and we're gonna keep fighting. And I'm really thankful for these two guys for sticking with our team. And I'm really happy to coach this basketball team.
Thank you, Coach. Let's take questions for the student athletes.
Sam, over here. Just, this being your senior year here, you've been through a few one-and-dones here at this tournament. What's it like for you now to be at this point with a shot at the championship tomorrow?
It's definitely one of the best highlights of my career, probably the best. It's just a great feeling, like just fighting through adversity and finally getting what I've worked so hard for. Just my teammates as well. Like, we've been through a lot. I personally been through a lot. I know Joe's been through a lot, the returners as well. And we finally just seeing all that work just pay off, and it's a blessing to be able to play tomorrow.
Right here.
This is for both Troy and Sam. So there's a moment when Troy was going to the foul line, and I see both of you guys with the smile on your face and seeing what you guys have gone through this year and how you guys are enjoying playing basketball, and you guys have a chance to go to your first NCAA tournament. What's going through your head right now?
I'm just happy to be a part of this team. Like Coach Word said, like, me and Sam been through some things this year with the team, and they accepted us back on the team, and we just came together as a family, and we playing as a family now.
Same thing as Troy said. Like, it's just we're enjoying playing basketball again. Like, I mean, there's times where like you don't really enjoy playing it, and it really gets to you, and then just actually having fun playing basketball is what's really helping us win a lot of these games. Is we're really enjoying each other as a team and enjoying playing together. And I think that's the biggest thing for us right now, why we're so successful, been so successful recently.
Other questions for our student athletes?
For both of you guys, in the first half, I think Utah State was up, I want to say 20-12, and then after that there was about like 8 minutes where they didn't score a field goal. I think they had a couple of free throws. What, if anything, changed with your defense or with your mindset out there to make that happen?
Basically, we wasn't speeding them up at first. Then once we got in the huddle, Coach Word said we got to speed them up, make them turn it over. So we start speeding up and making them turn it over.
I mean, I wasn't too worried about it. I mean, just kind of goes back to a lot of the lessons we've learned earlier in the year. Like, we just got to stay poised. Coach Weir always tells us, no matter if we're up 20, down 20, like, we just got to stay the course and just keep grinding it out. And that's what we did, and it worked out for us.
Anything else? Okay. Back to your left, guys.
I'm curious. Coach referenced, the back and forth on the team, off the team. In your words, each of your words, what happened, and why do you think you were allowed back on the team, and how thankful are you for that?
Personal reasons, and I mean, when I kind of figured it out, dealt with what I was dealing with, I was very blessed and excited to be back on the team. Kind of changed my mindset. I think it was something that I needed, not as a basketball player, but as a man. Just kind of sit back and just look at reality, and I think it's helped me a lot.
The same as Sam. I just had to be a man and get through what I was going through, and the team ain't never give up on me. So basically, yeah.
Sam, you mentioned, that for a while there basketball wasn't fun. When was the last time you had as much fun as you've been having lately playing basketball?
I can't even remember, to be honest, but I'm just happy to be in this situation. I've learned to let go of the past, and I'm just very happy to be in the moment.
We need to have a time. If you're not here at a certain time, you can't ask questions.
Do I got to run like you made your players run this morning? That's what I'm actually going to ask about. Troy, Sam, you guys are in the tournament playing in semifinal game. This morning, coach tells you you're running anyway. What did you guys think when you found that out?
I know what Sam thought. I don't know what Troy thought.
Go ahead.
I mean, I didn't personally want to do it, but like it's Coach Weir, like he's hardcore, so like nothing's going to change no matter rain, sleet, snow. Championship game tomorrow, it doesn't really matter. Like we're going to stick to the course. I mean, we just got to grind through it, and then we just got it done.
Did you believe him?
Nah.
No, I didn't until he told us to get on the line, and we started running.
Is there something to be said for the fact, though, that all year long he's had the believe or leave kind of mentality, and even in this moment, he's not letting you guys change your mindset of there are consequences for things like offensive rebounds against Wyoming and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. I think it's something, honestly, I just think that little phrase is deeper than basketball. I think that phrase is more towards, like, just us growing as men. Like, we gotta believe in what we're in or not do it, because if you're not fully wholehearted into something, like, it's not gonna work. You're not gonna be happy, and I think that's something that I've learned. Like, if you're not all the way into something, like, you're not gonna have fun, and you're just gonna make yourself miserable.
Same as Sam. Like, you gotta believe in yourself and believe in the system that Coach Weir set up for us. And if you don't, adios.
I'll do one more, and I know Coach is gonna love this one. What do you guys think of the fashion that your coach is doing, and the sweater now 2 games in a row, 5-0 in the sweater this year?
It's unique. It's different, but hey, we're winning when he wears that sweater, so he can keep it on all day.
Yeah.
They know more about fashion than I do. I'm not great.
Okay, we'll dismiss the student athletes this time. Thank you, men. Questions for the coach?
Paul, I know you gave me a long look last night when I asked you if you were being serious about the running. Mm-hmm. Did you really, were you considering at all not making them run, because you guys did just play a quarterfinal game last night? You had a semifinal tonight.
Yeah, I think as a coach, you're challenged with those things every single day. I think as a leader of an organization, you are what you tolerate, whatever those things may be. If we have a rule that you have to tuck your shirt in, and there's one day someone doesn't tuck their shirt in, are you going to always hold people accountable every single time? And that's just something I've always tried to stick to. So no matter the time, no matter how serious the consequences may be, playing 6 players at Utah State, whatever it happens to be, our principles are our principles, and we have to stick through them no matter when that happens to be. So, yeah, we had to do it.
Any runnings for tomorrow? Did they do anything in this game that they're going to run for?
Yep.
Can you tell me what it was?
Offensive rebounds, we gave up 5.
you're really going to sprint tomorrow morning before a title game?
Well, we have always sprinted for every offensive rebound we gave up. So we had, I think, a 13 offensive rebound game. That was probably our roughest post game. This morning, I think we had 7, and tomorrow we'll have 5.
Right here.
Coach, early there when I think Utah State was up 20-12, and you called that timeout, what exactly was it that you were trying to convey to your guys, to get things turned around?
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting kind of journey with Utah State. We went up there with the 6 guys, and McEwen just murdered us. And we really keyed in on McEwen going into game 2, and Merrill really hurt us. And we went into this one really kind of focusing actually more on Merrill, and we didn't come out at the start of the game doing anything we were supposed to be doing on him. It was a lot of similar stuff we'd done to James the day before, and he kind of got loose and made some shots, and we just had to kind of clamp down on him. We knew McEwen had played a lot of minutes and had kind of been shooting a lot more threes lately, so we felt good about maybe how that matchup would be, but I thought we really had to key in on Merrill and make sure he didn't have a big night. And I think after that first couple possessions, or not first couple, first few minutes, we did a much better job on him the rest of the way.
Right here. So after running, what kind of pep talk are you going to give your team before the game?
We're not really big into the pep talks. We just get ready for the next game. We've done it all year. We've never talked about seeding or it's just never really come up. So right now we have to get ready for San Diego State and give it the best we can. It's one game at a time mentality, and at 3 o'clock tomorrow, we'll just give it the best shot we have.
Coach, San Diego State's on this little bit of a roll where it's sort of a redemption tour. They've played, I think, in the last 3 weeks, 4 teams or 5 teams that beat them earlier in the year, and then they've beat every single one of them. And you're the only team that they have not beaten because they only played once. Knowing that and knowing you're playing a team that has a little bit extra motivation besides just beating the finals, does that change how you approach a game, or do you have to be aware of that heightened motivation?
Not really. I think it was so long ago that we played San Diego State. I think we're both different teams right now. The one thing I will say, I think we're both the freshest teams right now. I think when you look at this tournament and you look at maybe some of the great players that didn't play as well, or some of the great teams that didn't play as well, I just think they're out of gas, and they've been grinding and playing guys 40 minutes a night, and it just took a little bit of a toll. And I think when we got to March, that showed up a little bit on some really great players and some really great teams in our league. But I feel like San Diego State and us, it's almost like we're still we're kind of still on an upward trajectory. I feel that way just watching them. I watched their UNLV game. I've watched some of their games, and they've got a lot of energy. And I think the 2 teams left are the teams that just seem to be the freshest right now. They're obviously enormous. They're big. It's Ivan Drago, whatever it is you want to say, that's what they are. They're special. When I did my all-conference awards, they were drastically different than some of the ones that showed up. I think Malik Pope is the best center in the league. I think Devin Watson's the best point guard. I mean, they are very talented. They're very good. We're going to have to play our hearts out, and we're going to have to give it everything we got to close whatever gaps happen to be there, whether it's size, whether it's talent, whether it's whatever, and give ourselves a chance to win a game.
We're here.
Coach, so you've been preaching about Kaizen all year long.
Yep.
About how to get better every single day. So what can you do better tomorrow to give you the best chance to make the NCAA tournament?
At this point, all I can control is the 16 hours that we have, and we have to have a better 16 hours than them, whatever that happens to be. We watch film in the locker room as soon as the game ended. We have to manage and manipulate the next 16 hours better than they do, and that's all we can do. Then once the ball goes up, at that point you are who you are, both them and us, and what happens at that point, we'll see how that goes. But again, all I can do as far as the leader of our organization is just manipulate the next 16 hours as best I can, and that's all we're going to try and do.
Okay, 1 or 2 more questions back there.
I know you're not too reflective. I won't ask you to be overly reflective, but the 2 guys sitting with you, getting to a championship game, the 2 guys sitting with you this post game were 2 guys that you suspended this year for various reasons. Is that as unlikely a duo of guys that would be the 2 you invited after a semifinal win?
If you showed up on time, Jeff, you know what I mean? My opening statement would have reflected that.
You don't have to get.
I think it's very symbolic of our team. We've never given up. We were 3-8. I never quite gave up on Troy or Sam, and they never quite gave up on me, and our team never quite gave up on us. As bad as it got, as many losses as piled up, losing by 30 at Boise, whatever had kind of gone on, no one ever really quite threw in the towel, you know, and that's why I'm really glad to have these two up here tonight. I'm really glad our team has gotten to this point because we never gave up, and there's some satisfaction in that. Obviously, when you're a great team, when you're picked first in the league or second in the league, or you have NBA prospects and you're successful, that's amazing. Like I'm happy for the people that are like that. But when you're picked ninth and you put a bunch of new kids together and you go through the trials and the tribulations that we did, and you can get to this point now, it's refreshing and it's comforting. We're not done. We got to give it everything we got tomorrow afternoon. But for them in particular, I'm very happy for them.
And then specific to this game and really throughout league play, Anthony Mathis was a double-digit scorer. Scoreless tonight. Didn't score much yesterday. If teams are going to take him away, are you okay with that because it's opening up other things, or are you going to do something different to get Anthony more looks?
I thought he got some good looks tonight. I'll be honest with you. We haven't been able to get in the Thomas and Mac. I think that's affected us a little bit. We weren't able to shoot in there today. We got 20 minutes the day before. Like, you know, we like to shoot the ball. We spend a lot of time in the gym shooting, and unfortunately we haven't had a ton of access to get in and kind of get shots up. So I think that might have a little bit to do with it, but hopefully tomorrow night Tone will be able to make some shots. I thought he had some pretty good looks tonight. They just didn't go down, especially there late. I thought he had, shots that he usually makes. So tomorrow afternoon, hopefully he's able to make them, and our team can prosper off of that.
Okay, thank you for your time, Coach.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.